watching the Rockin' Hockey Show.
Get ready for the Rockin' Hockey Show.
Hey, welcome to the Rockin' Hockey Show, and thanks for watching our first episode of Fire Table Hockey Talk. And we're here with Francois Methot, and right at the almost at center ice of my backyard rink. And the point of this show is just to talk about important hockey topics in youth hockey, and just discuss them openly, and hopefully some help out youth hockey parents, youth hockey players. With anything with youth hockey coaches. So today's topic is going to be, what do I do with my kid? And I know, as being in the trenches for all these years, and Francois is now in the trenches too, all the time, is we get constant parents asking us, what do I do with my kid? Do I do lessons? Do I do camps and clinics? Should I play spring hockey? The list goes on and on. Francois, how often do you get that question?
Well, that's basically the most common questions that we get, and that's at every level. I think the approach to that can vary depending on the age and the level. At the younger groups, I would say the main thing is you want to develop an athlete, right? So multiple sports. It kind of pushes the kids that way to be coordinated, right? Have a different type of enjoyment, right, too, instead of focusing on just one thing. That's a big one, because a lot of those sports really do translate to hockey.
Being a better athlete.
That's
for
right.
Sure.
Yeah.
I have parents that ask me when they take lessons, how often should I come, how many, and even though I'd love to say, come every day, I said, I always say, look, at whatever works with your family. I said, are they playing other sports? How busy are they at school? How busy are you guys as a family? Because not only does your child get overwhelmed with too much stuff, but as a parent and as a family, if you're constantly carting your kids around, and then the siblings are, everybody's affected by how much you're running and gunning all the time. So too much is not enough. So, I agree with that. Is look at your life as a whole. Can I fit 2 lessons in a week, or is one better? And are you playing other sports? So I always tell people, look at your family as a whole and see where it fits in.
So totally agree with that. One big thing that is missed, especially with the younger kids, is the rest part.
Yep.
A lot of the kids I see that are always on the go, most of them will have some off practices, off sessions,
right,
meaning that they're not going to be engaged, right? And I feel like that part later down the road is what's going to chip away at the motivation.
Yep.
I think a big part for the kids is resting is a good thing. Resting is a good thing. When they show up, they want to do it, they're eager to get on the ice, and they get way more out of it. They're more coachable, right? And you can see just their enjoyment, it goes up. The other piece of it is there's a little misconception about playing other sports and then just shutting it down in the summer. I have a little bit of a different approach there. I don't think that, because skating is such a specific skill, I do think that the kids should skate a few times, I would say a month if you're not all in, just to keep the feel of it.
Right.
Because what I've seen is often we see kids that grow quite a bit in the summer, and they come back and it takes them a couple
3 inches
of months.
taller, yeah.
That's right, that's right. So hockey is not a sport I'd say that you just put the gear in the basement and let it be, unless it's just a recreational thing.
Right. I know as a player, we talked about too much going on, but it's funny, but some of my memories as a youth player, especially when I was playing out of town later on when I was 15, 16, and I had to actually drive an hour to get to where I had to play. Some of my favorite times were days when I didn't have hockey, when I could just get home from school and have nothing to do. Or I could actually get home from school and hang out with my high school friends, because I was on the road so much with hockey that I rarely got to see my high school friends outside of the classroom. So maybe I'd go skate on their pond, which I rarely got to do, or I'd go over to their house and hang out with somebody because every weekend I was on the road playing hockey. So I remember those moments that I actually didn't have to go to hockey, and that was enjoyable for me as a youth player, where I could actually have a day off.
Yeah, and tied to that, I think hockey is such a hectic sport, right? You need to be creative, you need to have anticipation, and if you lose that sharpness, if it becomes tedious and repetitive, I think, and I found that you lose that creativity, that anticipation, right? You're not as engaged. So that's why most hockey players in the summer, they all play golf. Right? They get away from the rink, and the first thing they want to do is they play golf. Why? Yeah, it's fun, but they want to shut down.
Yep.
They don't want to think about it. They want to get away from it. And then when they go to the rink, now they're refreshed mentally, and then they're ready to go.
Now you talked about summer, so spring hockey, summer hockey, it has its place in the industry, and I think it's needed for rinks to be successful. What are your thoughts on players finishing a 50, 60, 70 game schedule and then playing spring hockey and then going right into summer hockey? What are your thoughts on that?
So there's two ways to look at it. Okay, so I truly believe, for a certain level, that traveling in the winter, right, it's necessary to a certain point. But I truly believe in that the kids being rested, so playing more games locally.
Right.
What I like about spring hockey is if you really want to test yourself, right? It's a different level. It's much higher. Maybe you try once or twice.
Yeah.
If you don't do that, then you're stuck in that, the white picket fence around your town or around the area. Then you got to if you don't do summer hockey, then you got to do that travel in the winter. And you get on Mondays, and then the kids are exhausted from traveling, right? And if they have three practices a week, and then on top of that, they had 5 games in the weekends, I find that to be a huge volume, especially when you add traveling. Summer hockey, if you don't practice during the week, maybe you skate once and you go play that tournament, it's not so condensed. The other side of it, though, is if you are in a team that plays 70 games, then there's the burnout factor, right? What we've been talking about. So it's kind of depending on your approach in the winter season. To kind of go into the spring. I think the summer is there to make gains. So if instead of going to 5 summer hockey events, I think skill development would be the #1 thing to do.
I agree 100%. All the money you're going to spend in hotels and playing in tournaments, that's a lot of private lessons you could do.
Exactly.
Or specialty clinics that you could do.
And the kids can be kids. They don't need to travel.
Well, on that note too, is they have that other side of spring hockey, which, I don't mind, is, people ask me, should I play? And I'm like, look, you're coming off a long season. If you're going to play spring hockey, make it something that's maybe 3-on-3 with no coaching, no supervision. It's just go out and have some fun with your friends. So you're still on the ice, but there's not the structure and the pressure of having to whose line are you on, and are we going to win this game or not? And so there is a fun side to spring hockey, which I think it fits in. But again, it comes down to what does your schedule look like, and what does the last 6 or 7 months of your life look like?
And it depends on the level as well. How old are you? What level are you at? I would say that approach is probably the right one for 90% of the players. To be honest with you, it's the right approach for 90% of players. Just keep the enjoyment up.
Right. Yep.
Keep the enjoyment up. The kids just want to play like they would play on the outdoor rink.
Right.
That approach is perfect for 90% of players.
I agree. Last thing we'll talk about real quick is just like the difference between, I get this question a lot too, is, should I take private lessons or should I come to clinics? What's the difference? And I kind of tell people, look, anytime you can get a one-on-one with a professional is going to be the best thing you can do. But clinics are great because then you can apply maybe that skill, or you can apply it amongst some of your peers and learn how to do it in a game situation. Whereas maybe a private lesson, it's just you and the net in a cone, But now in a clinic, you got somebody that you got to get around, another actual person you got to get around and take it. So and maybe a goalie in the net. So it adds a little bit of a flavor to what you're learning privately. Do you have any thoughts on clinics versus lessons and how to keep it again enjoyable for the kids?
I think everybody's a little bit different. The way I see it is private lessons is more detail oriented, right? So let's say you want to work on something very specific, right? It's very difficult to get to that when you're in a group setting.
Yeah.
If you're working with a defenseman that want to walk the blue line and have their eyes up, it's really difficult within a group to be able to do that. On the group side of it, like you said, it's repetitions. You're looking to rep out whatever you're working on according, if there's a plan, where now that's where you get your reps. So you work more concept based. It could be battling, it could be zone entries, where you could start repping it and then have, you know, an opponent putting pressure on you. You can be a little more creative there, but it really depends what you're looking for, right? So I think there's value to both.
I agree. Hey, listen, we could talk for hours again about this stuff.
Yeah.
Thanks for stopping by our fire table in our first episode of Hockey Talk here by the fireside. Hey, thanks for watching the Rock and Hockey Show.
Check out Trotta!